I want to take you back to August 2019 when you signed for the club. An awful lot has happened since then. How would you describe those 2.5 years?
Roller coaster. Because, like you say, a lot has happened.
So let's talk about the start. The team had obviously got to a Champions League final. They just finished in the top four.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Pochettino there. I mean, how much of a factor was he in your decision to sign for Spurs?
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that you didn't, I think you played for him twice.
Yeah, twice, yeah.
I mean, just talk a little bit about that, because that must have been, difficult for you to go through all that.
Yeah, I think obviously when I was a bit younger, I was aware that Spurs wanted me to sign previous to when I did. But when I eventually did, he was the main reason why. And obviously I know his track record with young players at the club. So obviously I looked at that and thought it was a good opportunity for me to come and play a lot of games at a young age under him. And then, when he went, it was difficult because he was the main reason why I signed. And obviously, when I was coming back to full fitness, a new managers come in, and then obviously someone of Jose Mourinho's stature, I was excited to get going. And then obviously for me not to play too many games kind of affected my confidence a little bit. So yeah, that was it.
Were you able to? I mean, you obviously didn't work with Pochettino that long, but were you able to take something from that period?
No, not really, to be honest with you. I couldn't take anything from him, to be honest with you, because I was never around him because I was always in a rehab situation. So in terms of me getting to know him as a person and like the way he wants me to play and things like I couldn't take anything because it was literally, he was gone when I was ready to come back in. So in terms of myself, I think I learned a lot about myself in that period as well, mentally, and it shaped me into the person I am now.
I got a quote here from when Jose Mourinho came in. He compared you straight away with Ashley Cole. He said, "Ryan's got a lot of similarities with Ashley Cole, and he can learn how to defend. In the future, I think he can, but in this moment, he's not ready to play as a left back." So on the one hand, he's comparing you to one of the greatest fullbacks England's ever produced, and on the other hand, he's saying you're not ready. How do you process that? Because presumably what he was telling us was what he was telling you.
Yeah, in a way I understood what he was saying, because the defensive side at that time, I wasn't probably as aggressive off the ball as what he wanted me to be. And looking back now, I kind of agree with what he was saying, because it wasn't until I went to Germany, I think my defensive side improved in terms of physicality, being aggressive off the ball and stuff like that. I needed that trip in Germany to really understand what he was saying. So when he's saying the stuff about learning to defend better and things like that, at that time, he was right.
Well, let's talk a bit about that Germany loan, because just from a personal point of view, because you went out obviously in the middle of COVID, first and foremost, just going, I mean, we were all thinking about whether we could go outside. You were going to another country. What was dealing with that like?
Yeah, it was crazy because, like you say, it was COVID, and in Germany they're a bit more strict with the rules. So, like, you couldn't. I think there was a curfew for everyone. You couldn't even be outside past 8 o'clock. So there was literally nothing to do. I had to basically go train and just come back into my apartment. Very isolated. Luckily, I was with my girlfriend there. But like I said before, if I was by myself, I think I would have lost my mind, honestly, because, like you said, new country, new language, don't really know anyone. But it was very difficult at the start.
Did you pick up much of the language when you were there?
A little bit. Like football phrases and stuff like that, but not the actual language. Because it seems rude, but I kind of like declined learning the language because I knew I wasn't going to be there for too long, only the season. But for example, if I was to sign there, I would have learned more of the language.
So because you knew you were coming back. So when you came back that summer, obviously there was a long search for a head coach. It ended up being Nuno. What was your sort of interaction like with him? It felt from the outside, Nuno's style was very different, for example, from Pochettino. So how did that kind of relationship work with him? No,
I think my relationship with Nuno was good from the start. As soon as him and his staff came in, like, they were very welcoming to me. I remember because we had conversations where, like, he tried to sign me, I think, when he was at Wolves, and I played a few times against him in the Championship and in the Prem. And yeah, I knew that he liked me from that time. But again, didn't even get to play much under him. I think it was just 2 games, and then yeah, he didn't really get to see the best of me because I was on the pitch. So.
And you, like you mentioned earlier, you had a couple of injury problems around that time as well. I wondered if, just in researching about you, Jose Mourinho sort of said that he felt you physically you needed to develop a little bit and grow into yourself a bit. And I wondered whether the work that you've done in doing that was then a factor in some of the injuries that you've had. I'm maybe putting 2 and 2 together and making 20, but does that correlate?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I think when Mourinho was there, definitely I didn't grow into my body at that point. But I think it wasn't until, probably come back from Germany and then Nuno was there where I was getting physically bigger and stronger. And yeah, there was a lot of work needed for me to be in that situation where I could be a bit more stronger and stop these types of injuries and things like that. But I wouldn't say I did a bit too much for it to like go that way. No.
I want to read you another quote from Antonio Conte this time. He said that when he was just talking about your latest injury, he said, you're very strong physically. Sometimes maybe to be so strong physically, instead of being good for your body, sometimes it can be a problem. Are you concerned that your injury problems are going to be something that you've got to manage going forward, or do you think you've kind of put it behind you?
No, definitely it's something that I have to manage because I'm at a stage where obviously coming through when I was a bit younger at Fulham, I had no injuries. And then now obviously I'm at Spurs now, I've had a few problems where I think as I'm getting older, I need to start managing probably the intensity of training, the way I train. Obviously under Conte, the training's intense anyway, but it's about being a bit more mature and a bit more smart, and in certain sessions here and there not going 100%, but that's just the nature and the way I play. But yeah, it's just knowing your body and being smart and trying to be available for every game. So going forward, I'm trying to learn these things.
And I watched an interview, in fact you were put up I think for the pre-match press conference before NS Muir in November, and you talked then about seeing a psychologist, and if you're comfortable talking about it, if you're not, don't worry. But I just wanted, because that's quite a brave thing to admit, and I just wondered how that helped you. Could you just tell us a bit more about when that happened and how it helped you?
Yeah, so I first started speaking to someone when I went to Germany, because there was like a little spell where in Germany where at the start it started well, and then there was a little problem injury-wise there as well. And then like I started thinking too much about my game. So it was like I wasn't feeling free, I wasn't doing things that I was doing before. So yeah, I started speaking to someone about, the mental side of the game and how doubts can creep into your mind and like distract you and like put you down. So it's just more about bringing self-belief and positivity into thoughts, and then
Was that like a Zoom chat with someone here?
Yeah, it was a Zoom chat, yeah.
And did the club set that up, or did you?
No, it was me.
You did it yourself? Can I talk to you a bit about Antonio Conte then? Because you've said already, everyone knows his sessions are really intense, the sessions are tiring. What is he like to work with? Is he more demanding than any other manager you've worked with before?
100%. Because he's a perfectionist, so when you have someone that's so passionate about the game, it kind of rubs off on you. So like everything has to be perfect, and yeah, he's a perfectionist. You want to be the best, and he is one of the best. So everything you do, you just want to do it to the best of your ability. So yeah, I would say he's very demanding.
And I've heard his video analysis work is particularly detailed. Is that like almost straight away when he came in, he was pinpointing where the team were making mistakes?
Yeah.
Was that something that impressed you straight away?
We're in the tactics room every day, trying to better ourselves, learn about the opponents more as well. But it's more about where we can improve, and I think the team has taken great steps forward under him.
And his preferred system with the wing backs, presumably you must feel that plays to your strengths, right?
Yeah, perfect for me. Like you say, I think I think I'm a mixture of left wing and left back. So yeah, like you say, it's perfect for me. And yeah, he wants the wing backs to play with a bit more freedom and a bit take responsibility and bring the game to the opposition. And yeah, that's perfect for me.
It feels like, I know every player is obviously important in the system, but it feels like the two wing backs are so important to the way that he wants you to play. And you know, when you've been playing, or if Sergio's been playing, you've got that licence in you to get forward. That must really be exciting to just be part of that.
Yeah, the positions are probably the most important in the team in terms of creating overloads, attacking wise and defensively as well. We are stronger as a back five, but then obviously supporting the attack to get crosses in and to score goals it's very demanding job. Very you use a lot of energy, and yeah, it's about, like you say, managing that as well, but being smart and effective at the right times.
And he's a very demanding manager on the pitch, but also he's quite intense in his interviews afterwards, and sometimes we've been a bit surprised about how he's kind of dug the players out a bit. He doesn't pull any punches at times. I just wondered, when you're in the dressing room and you hear that he's, not you, but just the whole squad, if he's not happy with the performance, what's the sort of reaction internally to that?
No, I think when we don't win a game, of course any coach is going to be upset. So there's been times where we haven't been good enough, and he's let us know that in the change room. So he tells the truth, you know. He says what he thinks to our faces, and he will say the same in front of the cameras as well. So yeah, that's just how he is.
And you've had a great run of late. You said you started those 6 games in a row, including some big wins at City, Leeds, Everton. That particular spell must have given you a lot of confidence. Did the manager sort of tell you, right, you're getting a run here, or was it a case of you've got a chance and then you just keep doing it game by game, sort of retain your place?
Yeah, it was just a case of starting that game against City, and then yeah, we did well, and then from there I knew obviously the team was doing well and I was doing well, so game by game I was just trying to play well, and then I knew from then I was getting a little run in the team, and I was just trying to keep that going.
So we just kind of, because obviously that City result was a fantastic result, fantastic performance. Did you feel that then finally is a kickstart for you? You know, not only to obviously play well individually, but to go and beat Man City at Man City. Not many teams do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was that type of performance and game that I needed, to be honest with you, because I knew obviously if I was to do well against them, the next game I have a chance to play again and again and again, and it's just trying to find that consistency, and that's what I've tried to improve, my consistency in games.
And it's quite a contrast from obviously the Mura game. I actually watched that red card back. It seemed quite harsh to me. Did you feel the same?
I mean, like the first booking was a clear foul. I knew what I was doing. I was there was a break and kind of like stepped on his foot to stop the break. I knew that was going to be a yellow. But the second one, I feel like, obviously I knew I was on a yellow card, but it was like, as I've gone into it, I didn't think I actually touched him that badly for him to go down, you know, but I should have known about me being on a yellow to lunge in like that. So it was probably the fair decision at the time.
What did the manager say to you afterwards?
What did he say? He didn't say anything to me directly after. I think it was the next day we watched the game back, and he was saying like, you didn't even touch the ball, and in that time you got red carded, basically.
Right.
So it was like, yeah, it was bad.
That's quite brutal.
Yeah.
What do you sort of take from that? Was that a kind of pivotal moment for you?
Yeah, because it was my first start under him, so it was like, like I kind of thought to myself like, I kind of messed my chance up, because I thought, okay, it's my first start, I want to impress, and then I wasn't really even in the game, really. Like I didn't touch the ball amount of times, and then to pick up 2 silly yellows like that, it was like I thought I'd like ruin my chance, so basically.
But you had that great run after. We know you're coming back for the end of the season, and the end of the season is looking quite exciting. I mean, Champions League qualification looked like it might have gone at one stage, and now you're right back in the hunt. Is that presumably how you see it?
Definitely. I think, like the gaffer said already, I think is it 8 or 9 games left? We've got 9 cup finals left. We have to win every game. We know Arsenal are on a good run as well, and they're winning most of their games as well. So, and we still got to play them as well. So we want to keep the run going. Yeah, and then I feel like the game against them will be it might be decisive. Yeah.
It might. I mean, I know you're a South London boy, but you're a London boy. Do you feel that rivalry, that Arsenal-Tottenham rivalry?
Definitely. And obviously I'm not originally from North London, but I know the type of rivalry between London teams. So especially with the next door neighbours there fighting for the same thing, it will be a crazy, crazy game.
And to sort of finish that roller coaster that we talked about right at the start, it would be a tremendous achievement in the context of this season, because I mean this season's probably been the highest and lowest of all of it, right?
Definitely. Again, another season of 2 managers. So yeah, for us to, if we was to finish 4th, it would be a massive achievement for the club. Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.